Hello, everybody, and welcome to Blood and Popcorn. I am TJ Rotell, and with me, as always, the lovely, the talented, the Demogorgon, Denise Pantoja. Hello, Denise.
Hello, how are you?
And of course, with us as always, our odd movie master himself, Mr. Glenn Akers. How you doing tonight, Glenn?
Good. Why is Denise laughing at my intro? All right.
No, not your intro, but I was like, "How are you?" And he just kept going on with the intro. I
That's
shouldn't
it.
have asked how he was
I'm a
yet.
machine. Yeah,
Y-
I'm like Burt Kreischer's The Machine. I
You're a
just go.
machine,
I'm a hosting machine. I just rock it out
and then
with my.
I'm the issues that come like I
Yeah,
just throw shit at
you're
you.
the monkey wrench. You're the wrench in the cogs. But yes, that is us, everyone. Welcome to Blood and Popcorn. Happy Wednesday night. Happy Halloween Eve to those who choose to celebrate. And in honor of Halloween, we have a fun little anthology horror movie we're going to talk about tonight, and that is the 2015 Halloween anthology movie, Tales of Halloween. Yeah, this is a fun one. This is a staple in our house around this time of year and throughout the year. We're big fans of anthology horror movies in our home. Glenn, I don't know if you're traditionally a big anthology guy. What are
I
your
like
thoughts on anthologies?
good ones.
Yeah, there he is. There's
There
that
it
guy.
is.
But yeah, this one's
You said throughout the year. How often? How often do you watch this movie?
We've probably seen this movie. Well, we've probably watched it at least 6 times this year. D, would you say?
This year?
Probably.
Yeah. We listen when we were doing prep for the anthology feature that I was writing. We watched nothing but anthologies for a hot minute. We watched like Tales from the Dark Side, Twilight Zone,
More
what was it? Southbound.
collection.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Mortuary Collection, Southbound, Creep Show 2. We were just burning through them. Tales from the Hood.
Did you watch Black Sabbath like we put on the Instagrams?
We have not. Is that an
We did
anthology?
not.
Is that an anthology horror, Glenn?
Sad. Yes.
I mean, we haven't seen it. We've seen it. This is the one with Ozzy, right?
What?
No, that's an older
Trick or
one.
Treat.
That's Trick or Treat. I'm sorry.
Black
I was
Sabbath was a
mixing my
band that
anthology.
existed.
Black Sabbath was a
It
band.
was,
Got
with
their
Ozzy
name
Osbourne.
from that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
there you
then
go.
and the reason I mixed it up is because he's also in a Trick or Treat, and Trick or Treat is also an anthology movie, so I'm not totally off base.
No, you're right where you need to be.
That one's getting a massive like physical media release here soon.
Black Sabbath.
Yeah, I saw. We looked.
No.
Trick or Treat.
Trick or
Oh,
Treat.
Trick or Treat.
The one
Yes,
with
they sold
Ozzy and
out.
Gene Simmons.
They sold out. Like they broke their website broke the day it sold out.
I like
it
that
was
movie,
really
but I
cool
don't
because
know
it
if
was like 6,666 copies.
Yeah,
They literally had to change server like providers because it like
Mhm.
nuked their servers.
the power of anthology horror from the 80s is the way.
They'll release more, I guarantee it.
Yeah, they'd be silly not to, unless they don't like money.
Which they do because they were charging $66.66 for it. So
that's what kept me from getting it. I was like, well,
They'll
what?
It's a good company. I like this company. They'll sell more. They'll make more.
If I'll tell you this right now, this is off topic because we're talking about Tales of Halloween tonight. But if it were Black Roses and not Trick or Treat, I would have paid. Black Roses is one of my favorite horror movies from that era. So
I've seen neither. I should catch up on these two.
Oh man, Black Roses had a great like 3D cover art. It was like popping like the blow mold kind of pop out. It was really fun. Anyway, we're here tonight not to talk about rock themed horror movies from the 80s and 90s, but from Tales of Halloween, which was made in 2015. Denise, can you give us a little rundown what we can expect tonight watching Tales from Halloween? What are we in store for?
Absolutely. It's 10 tales of Halloween night terror, all occurring on that same night. We have a nice little weaving through with Adrienne Barbeau being our disc jockey throughout the scenes, and then you also have other characters showing up in other anthologies. So 10 different directors, and it's a fun little ditty. Is a ditty technically a song?
Diddy's not doing much these days.
No, not that ditty.
Ditties are Ditties are
You know,
traditionally frowned upon at this point in time.
it's upsetting that we've lost Diddy. We've lost the word Trump. Like, how many other words are we going to lose in
I
this
know,
world
I know.
because of terrible people?
It's rough out there, but
Because it's literally their name.
yeah, I mean, listen.
Oh, but but that's Diddy is like Ditty, right? Like a song.
I think so. I think that's
But it's
the
not.
difference.
So it's a fun little film.
Yeah. Well, and for those at home who are in the know, they'll get it. They'll understand. So yeah, okay. Well, here, so there it is, folks. 10 horror shorts packed into this horror anthology we know as Tales of Halloween. And let's just kind of go in order, I think, is probably the best way to do it.
Absolutely.
And like Denise said, we start off with Adrienne Barbeau, who's a horror icon in her own right.
A very big nod to The Fog, I'm guessing, right? Because she was a DJ in The Fog, right?
Yeah, I'm sure that
has to be.
Yeah, that's got to be. This movie is chock-block full of horror icon cameos, people from the community.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just really jammed in there. They really stuffed a bunch. But I guess that's what you get when you get 10. Like, the horror community in general is pretty tight-knit.
Mm-hmm.
And when you stick 10 different directors into one movie, they're calling in the favors. They're calling in the...
Yeah, I feel like it was just a bunch of friends who got together.
It has that vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, first off, one of the things I want to touch on is that opening credit sequence is really fun. We get everybody out front. It's a little long for an opening credit sequence, but it is featuring 10. Yeah, 10 shorts, so that's understandable. But yeah, it's beautiful. I love what they did with that to kind of introduce us to the town and the world and the various stories that are going on. It was super impactful and worked very well, I thought. What about you guys? Did that tickle your fancy? Did that tickle your Diddy or?
Did that Diddy or what? Anyway, yeah, I thought it was super fun.
I don't think you can use those two words in the same sentence anymore.
No.
Anyways, I'm sure. Anyways,
yeah,
I liked it well enough. In hindsight, I don't love the like flat Google Earth images they used. Though I think at the time Google Earth was like new.
Yeah, I mean, this was 9 years ago.
God, 9 years ago. Holy shit.
I know. Ooh.
Actually, I mean,
don't do math.
Released in 2015, right? So it was probably shot before. Yeah, 2014.
Yeah.
Created by Excel.
I'm sure at the time that like zoom in of like neighborhoods and like 3D Earth things that we're all used to now.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool, but I don't love it anymore.
You've outgrown it?
I have. I will say I'm glad it's not AI, but that wasn't a thing. So it's a very stupid thing that I'm like harping on here.
Hey, let it go though, Glenn. You know what I mean? Let it fly. We're all here. We all have our own opinions. We're all our own people. We can like stuff and dislike stuff.
We'll listen to yours.
I will say that I also get it. Like I think I don't know that how they did it. I'm sure they probably did use Google Earth, but they also like clearly like animated clouds and stuff to make it just not like a docu-series that's just like we're in little tiny town Indiana where this murder happened and they like zoom in from space.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate that they like went above and beyond using this thing. Anyways,
hey,
harping on things we shouldn't. There are 10 stories in this thing we should talk about.
I know, and each one's going to get 30 seconds after this intro. So,
oh boy, okay.
First up, but no, I mean, like, really, it's a, it really that type of introduction to the movie, whether it's whether you like it or not, there's a lot of time put into it, and it does, for me at least, it does seem to like kind of get you excited for what's to come. I love teasing all the stuff that's coming in the front and like little fun little ways. So yeah, I remember the first time I saw it, I was really impressed by it. Now it's just, like I said, having watched it as much as I have, I still really like it. But yeah, respect, Glenn, your opinion. And I disagree.
I don't.
That's fair.
Denise doesn't respect anyone's opinion. She's
That's not true.
Independent woman.
There are lots of people I don't know whose opinion I respect. Thank you.
But yeah, this movie, I think, probably to I think I'd probably capture all of our sentiments here when I say it's a bit of a mixed goodie bag
Yes.
of fun and not so fun, good, not so good things going on in this movie. And as all good Halloween bags of candy are, you go trick or treating. People are dumping shit in there, but sometimes it's an apple or a toothbrush, and
Sometimes you get Mounds, and sometimes you
Candy
get Reese's
corn.
peanut butter
oh
cups.
god, Mounds and
Don't
Almond
shit on
Joys are
candy corn.
always like.
I will shit on candy corn. I will go on
Don't
record shitting on candy
shit
corn.
Glenn is
on
going.
candy
Listen,
corn.
this is what we're about tonight. This is where we are talking about Halloween this evening.
Screw you and your candy corn hating ass.
Glenn, what is it about the candy corn that you hate so much? Is it the flavor, the texture, the colors?
The lack of
waxing?
flavor. It's wax. It's just candle wax, and
It's sugar. Duh.
Mm,
All sugar.
But I do feel like, listen,
why
as
does
someone
it
who can
not
take or
taste good?
leave candy corn, I do feel like you could probably make candles out of the same stuff that candy corn is made of.
Probably.
Maybe.
Like
We could try it as an experiment
that
next
could be
year.
fun, tri-colored candy corn, edible candy corn candles. There you go.
I don't think you can eat it
That's
after
the next
the
big
soot
thing.
and everything. That's
You're right.
not
You can't eat
healthy.
it.
Listen,
Do you both like candy corn?
I will. I'm not. I don't dislike candy corn,
You're really politician in this.
but I also don't like candy corn. What I do like, which is basically the same thing, are the pumpkins.
the mellow cream.
Yeah, the same.
Others.
They're
It's the
both
same.
garbage.
It's the same thing.
You're garbage.
Hey now, hey,
Damn.
hey, come on now.
I'm sorry. Your opinion is garbage.
There you go.
I mean, that's
it's invalid and it's garbage. Anyway,
I love you, Glenn.
Let's talk about the first of these 10 shorts called Sweet Tooth. And this one was directed by Dave Parker. Dave, also known as David Parker, who, David's done some stuff before. David was a writer on House of the Dead, was an editor on Video Zone, but a lot of editing work. And, some good stuff here, some Puppet Master stuff.
A
here.
couple Puppet Masters.
So, yeah,
it's a good start.
It's a good start. It's strong. It's a strong opener.
It is.
I think for for an anthology movie, and you do need that. Like you really need something to. It's like a wrestling card. You know what I mean? Like you need something to get the audience going. You want a fast-paced match with a lot of action and something that's going to really engage the audience. That they know what they're in for. And I think Sweet Tooth does the job well. What did you guys think about how that played out?
I do want to say though, because with anthology horror, at times you can get less than stellar acting. And this being the first one up, I was very impressed with Madison Eisman, who we've actually we saw later in one of our favorite holiday movies, which is what is it? Feast of the Seven Fishes,
Feast
right?
of the Seven Fishes, yeah.
Like she was so natural. She was great. And I think it set up the entire movie really, really well. It was a fun story. You're talking about an old urban legend that all the kids get told. So I liked it.
What about you, Glenn? Thoughts on Sweet Tooth? Not on candy corn. We know those thoughts already.
No, it's fucking garbage.
Stop it.
It's upsetting how much we sell of it in this country.
It's upsetting how you won't let me enjoy my candy corn. You hater.
I just want you to have better things.
Glenn just wants.
Sorry for trying to empower you in that way.
I'm gonna eat candy corn next week. Whole show.
Ew. Yeah.
Halloween will be over. You can't eat candy corn after Halloween.
Yeah, you have to eat like maple things.
It goes bad on November 1st.
I can do whatever I want.
Okay.
Right, anyway, Glenn's thoughts on Sweet Tooth.
I liked it. I like the monster that we see briefly. That's not to bury the lead, but like that's one of my quibbles with this movie is that like we don't see the monsters
Mm.
not that each one that has them, but like the ones that do, we don't see them very long, which is very sad to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there's a lot of people who work pretty hard on these, and I don't think it was because like they didn't look good and they're just like trying to hide them in shadows. Like I don't know
Mhm.
why. I guess it was just to make them like a sting or
Scarier?
something.
I feel like my producer sense tingles when I watch this movie because I'm like, I don't know what the budget is on this. I don't know if anyone can find the budget for this, but it
I
doesn't
couldn't.
it
I don't
doesn't
think it was
scream
a
like
lot.
this is a huge budget movie.
It
Mm.
wasn't.
And I'm betting that those creature effects they can only afford a day of having them. And
I did see that they shot most of the segments. Each only got 2 days, so
Well, some of them finished in 2 days. That's what I read. I don't know if they, but I mean, it was a little. Did you read that they specifically only got 2 days?
no.
I mean,
That
that
they
feels
finished in 2 days.
accurate though. Like we're all producers here.
Does.
Like that for watching those shorts, that they all feel like 2-day shoots.
Sure.
But I
And I'm
feel
sure
like
you're right. That's probably
yeah. Well, I mean, because they did like we'll talk about what was it the Week in the Wicked a little later on in the show, but the monster in that was very cool as well. But yeah, I agree. Like Sweet Tooth was a pretty gnarly creature, and you get very little. But it is a short. You know what I mean? That's what's tough. Like in our movie,
True.
Watch Till the End. Don't forget, Watch Till the End is out right now. You can catch it out on Channel 29's YouTube right there. We only see our creature very briefly. Like, you know, our monster, our killer is in the phone, but we only really get close up and personal with them. And I know for a fact that part of that was because you have a very limited amount of time and you have to jam enough story in the front of that
True.
to get people to give a shit about your character or characters.
Mhm.
And then, you know, you also the short film medium is a tough genre. It's really hard, especially with horror, because you know it's not like art house stuff where you can get really fancy with camera work and have people like, oh well, it was a beautiful short film. You know, when you're working with
Right.
gore and you're working with horror, you don't have a lot of runway to get people to give a shit about your characters before they start dropping. So
That's true.
I mean, in our problem was that we had to get rid of all the brown M&Ms before he would come on set. But that was just because that's the way Brad works. But
yeah, that's
Yeah.
Brad. He's like I won't eat any other M&Ms in the bowl if there's brown. He's like a rock star.
Such a
Brad's a rock
diva.
star. Yeah.
Such a diva.
What's weird though is
Spain
that was
feels
only
like
when he was acting. Like when he was crew, he was fine with
Right.
it. Like he'd be like,
When
yeah,
he was
just-
crew, he ate the
Right.
brown M&Ms.
yeah,
That's true.
But
Only
only
brown.
brown M&Ms. Yeah, so the
They were
the
for
dichotomy
crew.
of man found in Brad Bailey is for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
So it
I will.
looks. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I was gonna say the thing I did like is the kid. I forget his name and character name. Oops. He had like a scale model of the car from the car, which perfect. I love a good throwback to a weird 70s horror movie that no one has seen.
Mikey, the kid
Mikey.
Mikey,
Mhm.
Mikey, thank you.
Daniel DiMaggio.
Oh, any relation?
I don't know.
I was gonna say, according to like a Fangoria review, it was on a modest budget. I don't know what that means, but we are talking 10 films, so
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm in an anthology horror called Bite Sized Horror that I got to be in with who was in that? Katie Parker, who's in a bunch of Mike Flanagan stuff, was in that with me, and I think Amy Schlertmay was in that with me. I at this point I really can't remember who the actors were, but that was directed by our buddy Mikey May, who we're on his podcast tomorrow night, actually, A Study of Strange.
woo.
So look for the socials. We'll be posting about that tomorrow. But yeah, I know the budgets for that were incredibly small. And like those were 1-day shoots, most of
Like
them.
impossibly
But
small.
they had a ton of them. Like they did a ton of shorts for that. And because I think that might have been like more of like we're doing a bunch of short form content and then we're gonna make it into a feature.
Mhm.
But when you're talking about having, you know, a movie with this many people, and I can't imagine that the likes of Mick Garris and Stuart Gordon were getting paid to show up and hang out with Lin Shaye at a house for an hour. Like, I don't see that being a thing. But if I had to guess, I'd say this was definitely under $1 million. I'd probably venture to say it might be under 500,000 or around there. But we'll have to see.
Probably a lot of favors.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We haven't talked about the story. of this first one.
Go ahead, Dee. Enlighten us on the story of Sweet Tooth.
So the story of Sweet Tooth is that this this character, let me see Sweet Tooth, I want to get it right. Maybe I can't find Sweet Tooth's character. Timothy Blake. He loved trick-or-treating, he loved dressing up, he loved going to get candy, but he hated to go home because when he went home, his parents would take away his candy.
Fucked up.
He would never let him eat it because it would make him get fat or something. And one night he wanted to know what his parents did with all that candy. So he goes downstairs and there's like, it's like this, I mean, good on them for having a nice, solid, healthy marriage, but it's like they're feeding each other candy and having sex and like just really getting into it. It's like this candy orgy between the two of them.
Mhm.
So he gets upset and he goes and he murders them. He eats the rest of the candy they haven't eaten, but he needs to satisfy that sweet tooth. So he continues to go find pieces inside of his parents and he eats those too.
Yeah, his parents were into something called splooshing. Is the
Oh,
kink. That's
thank you
yeah.
for that.
You're welcome.
Well, so so legend has it. Legend has it if you don't save a piece of your candy for Sweet Tooth, he will take every piece of candy, even the ones you've eaten. So his babysitter, Madison Eisman, tells Mikey, her boyfriend starts to tell the story, and they tell Mikey this whole story. They're like, all right, Sweet Tooth. So he gets put to bed. He's upstairs. He gets out of bed and he goes and he puts a candy bar down, aptly named the Carpenter Bar.
Listen, I'm not a huge fan of overt homages into horror icons. And listen, I will say I am guilty of it in some of my earlier writing. Like I wrote a 6-episode zombie series long before The Walking Dead had come around, called Chronicles of the Living Dead.
Such a great name.
And the bar in one of the episodes was called Romero's. And, so I am guilty of it myself.
Aren't we all?
But it is one of those things where it's like I watch it now in like as I'm more developed, and I'm just kind of like, unless you can really sneak it in there, it just kind of is like,
it's a little cringy.
It takes me out of it. Yeah, it's a little cringy,
it's too overt.
Yeah, but Carpenter
They
Bar is
do it
not
better later in this movie.
Yeah,
What?
but Carpenter Bar is a little beat you over the head, like because it doesn't there's no candy named Carpenter Bar, like you know what I mean, like it's not that's not a thing, like no one's gonna name their candy a Carpenter Bar, like come on now, it's like
it's too long of a name.
Yeah,
it looks weird printed.
Yeah, it did.
The Craven gummies.
Yeah, Cunningham Chocolate Factory, you know what I mean, like anyway.
Anywho,
yeah.
So he sets out a piece of candy. And his babysitter and boyfriend have gorged themselves on his candy. They finished it. They're feeling sick.
Like some jerks.
Yeah. And she's like, oh no, we're going to have to replace the candy. So she goes to the bathroom and Sweet Tooth shows up. I want to say he rips the guy's tongue out. That's what it looks like, right?
No, he goes deep.
And he pulls his
punches down all the way into his stomach and rips his intestines up through his esophagus, which you don't see often in horror. Sometimes you'll see they'll go up the butt and rip the intestines out through the butt, like, or at least the throat, that threat of like,
he doesn't want poopy
your
candy
insides out from your backside,
right. Mm-hmm.
But this time through the top, which I respect.
It's impressive.
And then pulls out all the guts out of the mouth.
Listen, again, he don't want no poopy candy.
Who does?
He wants pre-Tootsie Rolls.
So she runs thinking he's gross. Sorry. She runs thinking he's puking, and she's like, hey, you got to leave. Mikey's parents are going to be home. And she sees his dead body. Sweet Tooth goes after her. And Mikey is safe because he has presented an offering. Mikey's parents come home, and he's like bewildered. And so when he turns around, I love this too. I mean, honestly, who's going to think, oh, it's this mythical fucking guy who's running around killing people because they didn't give him a candy offering? but he turns around when his parents walk in and he's like, they ate all my candy. So it makes it sound like he murdered them because they ate all his candy.
I mean, like, he's not covered in blood or anything. Like, that's a pretty messy crime scene,
Oh, for sure.
you know. And he's
But
in his
they-
Halloween costume. I like, unless he like
But they
went full on
refer
American
to it
Psycho
later.
and put on a poncho and shit.
Yeah,
do,
but they,
yeah,
they,
they-
refer to it at the police station.
Yeah, and with those two cops too, I can't help but believe they shot him. They shot him on sight. You know, and
They shot a lot of kids that night.
what I really like about that ending scene is the babysitters on the couch all ripped
Mhm.
up. I did the first movie Denise and I ever worked on together long before we met Glenn was a short horror film called Sharp that was written by our friend Joe and DP'd by our friend Austin, and it's really cool movie. Denise starred in that, and
I was awful.
and I did the gore effects for that, and there's this really cool shot at the end of all the people who'd been murdered all lined up on the couch, like in their various, like there's like a knife stuck in a mouth, like buried deep in a mouth, and
Mhm.
Denise's guts are pouring out, and it was a really fun scene. So that reminded me
Pig
of that,
intestines.
yeah, pig intestines and a pig heart.
Stinky.
They work.
Stinky.
But yeah, that was a really fun moment, and I think they executed that ending really well with the
Yeah.
two of them on there. Especially Madison looked like really fucked up, like she was all like, you know what I mean?
And you know what? It's hard to play dead. I didn't play dead very well in that first short. And you gave me a really good tip because one of the other girls on the couch, she looked super dead. And he's like, you said, TJ, you're like, focus on something and kind of like let your eyes go blurry. And that helps sell the dead look. I did not in that
Listen,
moment.
there's two things I'm good at, and it's being dead, telling people how to be dead. Oh, and directing zombies. Apparently, if anyone this holiday season, if you want to go to YouTube and check out, was it Zombie Holiday, Zombie Christmas? I can't remember. Zombie Survive. No, I'll drop the link in the Discord because I directed I did zombie direction for a
Mhm.
horror short.
It was great.
That was really fun with a group called Team Unicorn, and I got to direct the dude who did Chucky, the the guy that directed Chucky, which was wild, which was a whole thing. I didn't know that at the time. Tom Holland was one of the actors. He was there being a zombie, and I had no
Whoa.
idea what he looked like. I had no idea. And he gets bit, he gets turned into a zombie, and I'm like, okay, so
You
here's what you
directed
want to do. And
Spider-
I'm like directing this fucking icon of horror on how to be a zombie. And he, like, to his credit, took it, like, was like, yeah, absolutely, that's good.
I mean,
I'll go do
he
that.
knows killer dolls, not zombies.
Yeah, but that was that's a highlight of my horror career. Is like I directed Tom Holland to be a zombie in a horror movie.
Those are the
Fabulous.
fun stories.
Yeah, that's the good stuff. But yes, that's Sweet Tooth. Overall thoughts in general. What do Glenn? You got something to?
One last thing. One of my favorite scares that I think is effective, even though it's an homage, or I hope it's an homage, is when the girlfriend like yells out the kid's name and then turns around and then walks out of the frame, and then the monster's right behind her.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good. I'm pretty sure it's an homage to The Exorcist 3 with the shears in that scene, if anybody's seen that.
Not in a minute.
Oh yeah, it's
Very
been a
good
while.
sequel. Highly recommend. You can skip part 2.
Was that Brad Dourif? Was he in that?
Yes.
Yeah, I was
He
gonna say.
murdered that
Yeah,
in a good way.
right in the cover box too.
He
Good
murders so
role.
much.
He does.
Speaking of
One of the best.
Speaking of
Chucky and
murder.
murder.
Speaking of the murder, our next movie up, our next short up was The Night Billy Raised Hell, and this was one of the ones on the funnier side. This was Darren Lynn Bousman, or Bousman, however you want to pronounce it. I don't know how he pronounces it, but
I think it's Bousman.
Bousman.
I think it's Bousman. Just go with Bousman.
Big fan of that cat and the movies directs, but this was one of the funnier ones. This was pretty lighthearted and fun. What did you guys? This was more along the lines of a kid tries to egg a house. Turns out the house is owned by the devil, and he teaches the kid a hard lesson by sending out a little imp in his place to just wreak havoc on this town. and then let him free to go get
in the
shot.
kid's costume.
In
To
the
go
kid's
get
costume.
shot.
A lot of kids committing crimes and getting shot by local police in this movie. It's pretty heavy.
NBD.
Yeah, but what did you guys think of the night Billy raised hell?
Glenn, I'll let you go first this time.
Sure. Yeah, no, this is also towards the top half of the 10, I guess, for me. Even though they don't show it, spoiler warning. I'll give them props because they highly imply that Billy doesn't make it,
Yeah.
which is pretty bold. I know there's a couple of horror movies this year that are getting praise for not holding children sacred in horror movies. I mean, again, they didn't show it. I thought that was very interesting, but I liked the twist of, I guess he's the devil, right?
He's either the devil or some degree of lesser demon walking on Earth, but he feels like the devil to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Living in suburban Los Angeles, which makes sense.
That tracks. Yeah, that super tracks.
Even as a deity, you can't afford.
His
the rate
character
out
name
there.
is Mr. Abaddon, so
Oh, so maybe he's Abaddon the
Abaddon.
demon, which
Okay.
would make sense. So let's call him Mr. Abaddon instead of the devil. He's a horny bloke.
everybody's after Billy's mom.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true. We never see her, right?
no.
No.
Okay.
We see her
That
daughter.
is
We
the
assume.
only failing
Oh
of this part. What?
my God. I've a bit of information whenever you have finished your thoughts, Glenn.
Oh, that was it. That it was a real shame we didn't get to see what everyone's talking about, including a demonic deity.
Guess who played the dentist? Did you know who played the dentist, TJ?
I sure did.
I did not. Adam Pascal.
Yeah.
What?
Of Rent fame.
I mean, and it also makes sense because Adam Pascal was in The Devil's Carnival, Alleluia, which Darren Lynn Boozman directed. Critters saying it's Booze Man. Love Darren Lynn Boozman. I mean, he did all the Saws, well, not all the Saws, but like early Saws,
what?
like 2, 3, 4, and Spiral. He directed those. And then he directed Repo the Genetic Opera. Glenn's not really a big fan of musicals, but TJ and I love Repo the Genetic Opera, The Devil's Carnival,
Big fan
Devil's
of Repo.
Carnival, Alleluia.
Abattoir as well, which was an interesting movie.
That one was interesting, yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to go as far as to say I loved it, but I didn't hate it. But
Love Darren Lynn Boozman though. Yeah. But yeah, Adam Pascal. I did not fucking recognize him at all. That's crazy. I'm just looking at the IMDb and I'm like, what? And then you gotta love anything with Barry Bostwick. I mean, who's also in The Devil's Carnival.
Barry Bostwick.
Barry Bostwick. He's fantastic. It's always fun to see him in stuff.
Who does he play in The Devil's Carnival?
Devil's Carnival, Alleluia. He plays the photographer.
Oh, he does.
The
That's
reporter.
a great role.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this was a fun one. I had a couple of nitpicky things about some script stuff that I was like, well, okay. You know, I didn't quite understand this threat to tell everybody that Billy was Captain Piss Pants, and the little song didn't work for me. It just didn't feel super I don't want to say natural, but organic, I guess, is a better word.
Well, because it didn't make sense in the rhymes. Like it wasn't sing-songy enough because you only needed Captain Piss Pants. Like we know his name's Billy. We don't need, like, the audience doesn't need to know that part of the song. But if you go like Captain Piss Pants, Captain Piss Pants, like that's something you can chant. That's something that the audience can chant. But when you try to jam in an extra bar into the song, it doesn't make sense. Because like chants, like if you go to a stadium to watch a football game, you don't have that many bars in your chants. No one's like, let's go Jets, you're the best. Like, no, it's just let's go Jets. You know what I mean? Like you just, you want to get it short, especially with an insult like that, Captain Piss Pants. Like no one's going to be like Billy Captain Piss Pants. That it's too long. That was one of my big qualms about this too. Oh, we lost Denise.
Uh-oh.
Denise has fallen. She's fallen off the world.
She did not agree.
Nope. She was like, I don't agree with anything you're saying.
What happened?
Let's get her back
Your
on
video
stream.
dropped.
Your video dropped off. You must you got so excited that it killed the video.
Yeah, I guess so.
And there it is. But you're back now, and
I'm back.
that's all that matters.
Okay. Anywho,
So we were talking
yeah.
about Captain Billy Piss Pants.
So it was fun. It was very topical. Like, I don't know if the Adrian Curry joke would make any sense to a lot of kids these days, but it made super sense then.
That's probably my biggest issue with this one, is that whole Adrian Curry segment. Like, there are so many more famous people in the horror community later on in this movie who are doing cameos who don't get named. To do Adrian Curry, and no disrespect to Adrian Curry's beautiful woman, talented, no disrespect, but to feature her in that way and not only like call her out for an autograph.
And how many followers does she have?
How many followers, like the Twitter joke. It was
But
so
it was
such
pretty
a long
topical
piece.
then. Maybe that's why.
But I mean, what was Adrian Curry doing in 2014? Anything like, was Adrian Curry like
Didn't she marry a Brady?
I don't know. Did
Like,
Adrian
that's
Curry
it.
marry a Brady? I have
Like,
no idea.
I think she married a Brady.
Like
and she
one
was
of
just
the Brady
like
bunch?
huge. Peter Brady.
Peter Brady, like the.
I mean, she didn't marry the character, the guy who played.
I don't know. I mean,
that's
like,
why
Adrian
I think
Curry
it was just topical in that moment.
I know, but like Adrian
She
Curry's
was
IMDb is not.
no.
It's not
Christopher
big.
Knight.
Like America's Top Model, like Fan Wars, Dirt, Falling, like Hot
I
Properties.
know. I mean,
it
but
wasn't-
listen, this was probably not the start, but this influencer dumb was like, this was growing and growing and growing, and she had garnered such a huge following, and I don't know. I don't know.
It's funny to think about 500,000 followers right now, and it's like, oh, okay. I mean, like, listen, I have 200 followers. I'm not even a blip on the radar, but like when you look at like the Bad Bunnies of the world, who are like 10 million followers, and you're like, oh,
well, doesn't one of the Kardashians or one of the Jenners have like 23 million followers or something like that? I don't know. The numbers are insane these days.
Yeah. Who cares? Yeah. But that's but that part of this movie. Thanks for the raid, Steph and Co.
Yay. Hi, Steph.
Yeah, that part of the movie really weirded me out. I didn't quite understand why it was
Did it
there.
take you out of it?
Yeah, it did a little bit. It did a little bit. But yeah, while we have the Raiders here, we're just to catch you up. You're watching Blood and Popcorn. This is our horror podcast. We're talking about Tales of Halloween. I'm TJ Rotell. It's Denise Pantoja, Glenn Akers. We're the hosts of the show. We hope you enjoy it. Welcome to Channel 29. So back to it. We were just getting on with talking about The Night Billy Raised Hell, which is one of the segments of Tales of Halloween.
It's only the second one.
Only the second one, so you didn't miss much. But yeah, we don't like Captain Piss Pants. We don't like the Adrian Curry piece. What I do really like is the Mordecai makeup.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the Mordecai makeup was really fun. It's definitely, I think they definitely borrowed pieces of that. For the Rusty Rex side of things.
1,000%. I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah. So but fun makeup, fun character.
Mm-hmm. There was a lovely, it wasn't talked about at all, but a nice little cameo in the beginning of that segment where you see Felissa Rose passing by, which was great.
Yeah. And I think she's also later on in the movie as well as that same parent in Ding Dong, one of the other shorts that we'll talk about a little later. But yeah. So overall, I think that The Night Billy Raised Hell, fun, super fun, like great, like fun segment. Not my favorite one of the movie, but overall,
yeah,
good. Like a good time, a good way to break up something as heavy as Sweet Tooth. Which then leads us into Trick, which is rather heavy.
Oh wow!
Trick is an entirely different thing.
Trick is like.
Yeah.
Trick is like a hard candy.
Yeah. So, Glenn, do you want to give us a little taste of what Trick was about? If you remember, if you recall.
Sure. It was the one where the kids come up and are trick or treating, and like obviously they say trick or treat when they answer the door, and then it's just stabbing
Yeah.
from then on out
Yeah,
from the
it's like
kids.
7 minutes worth of straight stabbing.
Right. I mean,
I think they use a bat at one point too.
In an axe and
fair enough.
a
You gotta.
flamethrower.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they do use a flamethrower. No, I like that it broke up. Like the first two were kind of fun, and then this one got more serious, more.
It's pretty dark.
It's very
Yeah,
dark.
like home invasion horror.
Yeah, with
Ish.
kids, which I think was an
Kids,
interesting
again.
twist.
Well,
No,
yeah,
I liked it.
because
It's not my favorite, but yeah.
it's not your favorite. Because the way, carry on, Glenn, and then I'll jump in.
Oh no, that was it. Like,
Okay,
because it's not my favorite, I don't have a lot about it.
so the way it starts, you're like, you've got 4 adults sitting
Mhm.
around getting high, watching Night of the Living Dead because poor George Romero.
Public domain.
So they're watching it. They're answering the door for the trick-or-treaters, and then an older child comes up and is just standing there staring at the guy, and he's like, trick or treat, and they're like, they're supposed to say that, and she just kind of stares him down. She's in a double costume, and like 10-15 seconds later she goes trick, and then she shivs him, like she stabs him.
Yeah.
Stab.
The dead eyes like a
They
dog's
run
eyes.
off. And the adults are saying, call 911. They're like, no, are you crazy?
Yeah.
So the other girl goes out to get the car. She gets attacked. They're all getting attacked. So you're like, what's going on? Why are these kids going crazy? That's awful. And then you see the last girl run to the garage, and she's about to call 911, but then she hits her phone and starts deleting pictures. And then you discover why these children have come after these adults, because they have been abducting and torturing children, and I assume killing them at some point. So there are all these pictures of them like with eyeballs and like, putting them in their mouths and just like
selfieing and
nasty shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, this was an interesting one because I don't love this one, but I tried to think back. This one has an air of The Sixth Sense for me because The Sixth Sense is one of the greatest twists of all time. And the first time I watched this, I was genuinely surprised by the ending.
Mhm.
Diminishing returns on this short every time I watch it because it's that the ending is arguably the best part of the of the short. But I think the acting is really good. It's it's got some good actors. It's the twist is really fun. I wish the kids were good. Like the acting was good, but the costumes felt like the costumes showed the budget for me. It was like non-IP generic cheap costumes, and I think it took, for me at least, it took a little bit away from that because I was so busy like why are they
I mean, did you ever trick or treat poor though? I mean, that a lot of kids have to put their costumes together though, so
well, I mean, but there's no indication that these kids are poor.
no, but
Like
what I'm
that's
saying, like,
sure, but listen, it's not this isn't a classist thing. This is a wardrobe decision. Unless you're going to give these kids a backstory that shows them coming from quote unquote the wrong side of the tracks, like we see later
Sure.
on in the movie, with the Wicked and in the whatever that one was, the Wicked in the Wild.
Do you
or
think it
some
was just
shit.
like a little lazy?
It felt lazy to me. Yeah, it felt the Weak and the Wicked. It felt a little lazy, and especially like, could you imagine if Jason Voorhees rolled up in his pajamas, or Freddy Krueger was wearing a shirt and a tie?
Sweatpants?
Like that's what it felt like. These kids are performing horrific acts, and I would have just liked a little bit more depth because I don't even know by the end of that short. I don't even know if these kids are alive or if they're dead and they're ghosts, if they're former victims of these people who have come back to reap revenge on them. So that's what I'm saying.
That's
Like,
an
to me,
interesting thought.
but the thing is you get a little bit of that throughout the movie because all of those kids are featured again in other shorts, trick or
Right.
treating with their parents, which again, I think that might have even been a misstep because it takes away from that short. Like, where, at what point did these kids break away from their parents who we see them trick-or-treating with to
And start
murder
stabbing.
4 grown adults in horrific ways to get revenge,
I don't know.
you know, on the girl with the missing eye at the end. You know, it's that's what I mean. Like, and I feel like if they'd stuck to something a bit more legitimate costume-wise, and again, like, you can have a devil, you can have an alien, you can have a witch. That's fine. But it's like if you're gonna lean, oh, we lost Denise again. Well, this is becoming a whole thing here. I wonder what's going on.
I don't know.
I
Keep
don't know.
going though.
Yeah, so we you know, if you look at the three of them, like, I would have done, for the amount of homage in this movie, I would have done the 3 masks, like homage to the 3 masks from Season of the Witch. I would have done like some sort of like pumpkin faced character, a witch, and a skeleton. And at least that would have been like at least that would have felt a little more, you know, a little more story driven. You know what I mean? It would have
Sure.
it would have made a little more sense. But yeah, I don't know. It's not my favorite thing in the world. But it is what it is. You know, it
True.
doesn't ruin the short for me, but like I said, it does kind of make me feel a little bit like and like I said, that's why I said it didn't, I wasn't mad at it, but it did show the budget for me. It did make me feel like it was
It
that
did.
was a budgetary decision, and that's how that went down.
Yeah,
my
okay, I
eyes
can see
was.
that.
Yeah.
To me, what that felt like was these kids, like, there have been missing kids in the town or in the neighborhood, and they did some research a la Hard Candy and decided to wreak revenge and go save whoever else, you know, was next on their list. So
And they
I
must have
liked it
done this
because
at
of
the
that.
end of the night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that would make sense.
I'm
Yeah.
with you. Like a couple of lines of dialogue, like I would have actually enjoyed it more if they were like disadvantaged kids or something that like
hmm
were doing this for a reason.
Mm. Just something to
Read
give you like,
between the lines, boys.
well, but like I said, you know, it is like, for me, it felt, because when I was watching it the first time, I was like, oh, well, these are like obviously the ghosts of kids they've murdered in the past come
Mhm.
back
That's
to take
interesting. I never
revenge.
thought that. I love it.
And
I didn't either.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that was the first thing that because I was like, well, why, you know, why do it? 2015. I mean, we had the internet, but it wasn't what it was today. You know, I mean, like I guess these kids could have, like, what was, you know, was that little girl wearing a fucking air tag? You know what I mean? Like, what, you know, what are they like? It's a small town, but like, you're saying that I mean, listen, having seen the cops in this town, it makes perfect sense that they hadn't been caught.
Yeah, right.
You know, but also
But
you're like,
They shot it in Los Angeles.
listen, Hard Candy
yeah,
was well before AirTags as well. She did her research, right? You meet these creeps in chat rooms and stuff like that, right? So, you know, I'm just saying it's possible.
sure, of course. Hey, listen, it's a horror
Oh
movie.
yeah.
Anything's possible. Um,
Okay.
interpretation is these are the opinions. These are the things that matter most this week. But yeah, that's Trick, which again, good ending, fine short. Not my favorite one of the piece.
No.
To be honest, you know, Sweet Tooth is probably up there
Yeah.
amongst, it's in the top half of them
See,
for me.
I disagree. I liked this one maybe because I like the
Murdering
underdog.
adult.
I like murdering adults. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
like the underdog, you know, finally rising up and getting the bad guy, you know. So
Mhm.
Fair.
I like that about it.
I'm with you there.
Hmm?
I'm with you there. Yeah, I like that too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, that brings us to our next short, which has a very similar theme, and that's The Weak and the Wicked, which this one
It's not one
probably
of my
my
favorites.
least favorite of the
Yeah.
movie. It yeah, the Weak and the Wicked is about, as they say, the wrong side, the wrong side, the hood rats and the wrong side of the tracks or
Yeah.
something.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, she does say that.
They made poor Adrian Barbeau say that line. And yeah, it follows the story of three naughty kids who
Three
aren't
hoodlums.
kids.
They're teenagers.
They're old. They look like adults. But they're, maybe they look like they're in their early to mid 20s, but I guess maybe let's say for the sake of argument, they're playing teens.
They're riding their huffies.
They're riding huffy bikes. They got tattoos, which means
I
they're
just
bad.
assume they all had DUIs.
Smoke.
Well, and it has
Lost license
and
at
you've
30.
got these three people, and they're doing bad things. They're beating kids up. They're putting out cigarellos in their feet, and
They run
come
the
to learn
streets.
they run the streets at night on the wrong side of the tracks, and we come to learn that one of the people they tormented when he was younger, when they were legitimately children, has come back to reap his revenge by means of summoning a horrific demon on Halloween night to carry out his revenge plot. And yeah, so this is The Weak and the Wicked. What did you guys? This wasn't my favorite one, I've got some stuff to say about it. But I'm curious to know what you guys thought of this one.
It was
I go ahead, Dee.
no, you go.
Yeah, the dialogue that they had Adrian Barbeau start out with was not great. I see what they were going for, but not great.
Yeah.
I think it was shot well.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite monster.
Oh, agreed. Yeah, hard agreed.
And this is where, like, me going in earlier saying, like, I wish they would have shown more of it.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been this. Like, they worked a long time on that. Clearly, it was a functional. I don't know if it was animatronic, but it looked like it probably was a little bit. I wish they would have shown more of that.
See, here's my thought on that. I think that costume was so cumbersome that they couldn't get much movement out of it, and that's why. Because like we literally get one shot of this guy.
Yeah,
and it's like it's a tilt up on from the ground. You see
the
a
whole
cool
head thing,
apron and some gloves that are not great, and then you get to this sick ass mask. And he's a really cool demon, and you come to learn that this kid has summoned him to do the deed, and that these guys had burnt his house down and killed his parents when he was a child.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but this has one of my least favorite characters once again, and I think I talked about this last time, or when I talked about it for Dark Harvest, like people who don't smoke.
Yep.
Either practice or don't do it. I don't like. I'm a writer, and I don't ever write people smoking because I don't smoke, and I don't. It's never been like a thing where it's like, yes, this character smokes because of this reason. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's better ways, but yeah, to have this poor girl smoking like a cigarello and like fumbling to handle it, and who knows, she might smoke cigarettes, but like smoking a cigar is a different thing than smoking a cigarette. And yeah, it just bothered the shit out of me. And what's funny is later on in the movie when we get to Grim Grinning Ghosts, we see that lead actress smoking. I'm like, there you go, that girl smokes, or she's done her research and she's learned how to do it properly. But yeah, Glenn, like you said too, the dialogue in this for me wasn't, it just fell incredibly flat, which is crazy because the cast is good. Like the one thug was from Scare Package. He's a lot of fun, and he was in Starry Eyes. And then the other kid was in Descendants. He's one of the main characters.
He was a main character.
It's like Hades' kid or something.
Jafar's kid.
Yeah, Jafar's kid. Yeah, like they're good actors. Like the actors in the whole movie are good. Like I don't think there's a bad actor across the board here. I think everyone was, but it's not always about the actor. Unfortunately, sometimes it's about the writing and the direction, and this one just fell super flat for me, save for the monster at the end and the blood spray at the end.
Yeah.
And God, I hope they didn't use the blood with photofill in it, because like that would have been super bad for that kid's eyes. Like, oh my God.
It looks so painful.
Yeah. He got a lot in his eyes.
A lot. But good for him. He kept the take going. Just like, yeah, like just go. Like, and good. Yeah, good for you, kid. If you ever see this, that's good on you, mate.
I hope you got a stunt bump.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And then they rinsed your eyes out immediately afterwards. What about you, Dee? What were your thoughts on The Wicked and the Wild?
I agree
What
with
Week in the
everything
Wicked?
that's been said. Not a huge fan of the dialogue in this one. The girl's great, like she's hot and she's like, badass, but it didn't land for me. Like I wasn't buying it.
Mm.
I wasn't buying the character. Um and the All Hallows Eve on All Hallows Eve, it's truly a moment that I almost cringe when I hear it because she yells on All Hallows Eve, and I don't like the way it comes out. Maybe it just messes with my ear because it's like a scream of that part of the line.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree, the monster's super cool. He's almost like Nemesis
Yeah.
reminiscent.
Mhm.
And that blood spray at the end is fantastic. But
Yeah, the
yeah,
monster
that's
looked like it came straight out of Diablo. Like it was like creature of hell, and really fun design, really fun execution on the monster. But yeah, I would have loved to have seen, and you could have, like, there was room in the story to see more of that. But again, I got to go with the budget on that one. Show the
Sure.
monster, he's cool.
mhm.
Loading up an air cannon with a bunch of blood and popping off some compressed air is way cheaper than having a big demon rip a girl in half.
Yeah.
So it's,
Mhm.
again, budgetary is a thing, and especially with horror, they typically don't have big budgets.
And it can lead to some very interesting choices.
It can, yeah, but the for this one, it would have been really cool to see that monster really do some damage,
Mhm.
because it was a really neat design and a really cool execution. So
Yeah.
Week in the Wicked,
Directed by Paul
lowest.
Soleil.
Yeah, lowest. What else has Paul done? What's Paul gotten into in the past?
So apparently he, in 2003, he went to work collaborating on a feature-length script with his longtime mentor Eli Roth, but I'm trying to find
Who?
whatever came of that. Eli Roth.
Mm.
I was being a smartass.
Oh, hilarious. So let's see. In
He did some stuff
2008,
for Black Box TV. That's fun. Dark
he
Summer.
wrapped production on a feature-length version of Grace from his short film.
Mm.
Since its premiere at Sundance 2009, where two men in the audience passed out from the intensity of the film. We got to watch this.
Oh yeah, I'm looking to pass out from the intensity of a film. Let's go.
Wow.
But yeah.
And he starred in some stuff, so I don't know.
Again, when you've got an anthology horror movie like this, I mean, when we were writing, the Blood and Popcorn anthology movie, everyone was getting a shot to direct because you don't have a budget.
Yeah.
So a bunch of first time directors, getting a shot to go do something is it's a real thing, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. For me, this one didn't work. I'm not a big fan of this one.
And that's okay.
That is
They can't all
okay.
be winners.
Yeah, they can't all be winners, but I think the movie overall still holds pretty
Yes.
strong. Especially with this next one, Grim Grinning Ghosts. This one is chock-a-block full of horror legends and icons and guest spots. I mean, you've got Stuart Gordon, Mick Garris, Lynn Shay, Barbara Crampton. Like, in the lead actresses from Star, there's 3 people from Starry Eyes in this that I counted. And Starry Eyes is one of the best modern horror movies that's been made. It's a beautiful movie, like super indie horror, like great story, great acting, really cool effects, and the story for this one I really didn't like. I really didn't like the monster on this one either, but for the acting was all really good, and especially from what's her name from Starry Eyes.
Mm-hmm. So this was actually written and directed by Axel Carolyn, who put this whole anthology together.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Now it's very interesting. She used to be a journalist. She's a Belgian filmmaker, former actress and journalist. So she did a lot of like horror reporting from 05 to 08. And then I think since Tales of Halloween, like she did a lot. Like she wrote on Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. She directed some of The Haunting of Bly Manor, Creep
Oh.
Show, The Manor, American Horror Story double feature. So and Mayfair Witches, like she's been busy. But let's
On
get back
like
to the story.
exclusively horror shows.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun. Good for you.
Nice.
Oh, she was also married to one of the other directors in the anthology,
Interesting.
Neil Marshall. Carrie
Yeah,
Ann.
Alexandra Esso, I guess, is the girl from Starry Eyes. I think she's a super talented young actress, and I'm excited to see what else she does in her career because I think she's a talented cat.
Mm-hmm. She
And,
was in Dr. Sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she played Wendy.
Torrance.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I was going to say the younger version because, right? Yeah. Is it a flashback?
I don't know. I don't remember that movie, and I remember liking it, but I don't.
It's so
remember
good.
how
I know
much went into it.
It's pretty heavy too. We don't always rewatch that one.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was gonna hate it because The Shining.
Yeah.
Right.
It was very good, but I should have never doubted Mike Flanagan. That's what I get for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
How dare?
I know. I'm sorry, Mike.
That'll learn you. But yeah, this one, Glenn. What did you think of this? I'm curious to know what you thought of this one. Well, this one was shot by our friend Jan, right? This was a Jan Michael Lasada DP job. Is this one of them? I feel like it was.
I think
When you looked it up, yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is one of my least favorite ones,
Mm-hmm.
and I hate to say that.
I mean, the camera work was beautiful.
Yeah, the camera works good. I mean, the acting is good. It's just it was the story was less engaging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate saying that, but and it was just cameos is what it was for me. It was just cameos.
Cameo the film.
Cameo the film.
And then again,
which
at
sounds
the
like something
end,
that would come out in the 70s.
super
that I would have
flash
loved.
of our monster, and we're out.
Yeah, that one was for sure the one where you're just like monster cut.
Yeah. Get a couple of fake scares.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if that was like more than a few frames, I'd be surprised.
I hate to say it, but it's like I think it's the most forgettable.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that statement.
I think it's because it's the lack of monster.
But the best smoking in the movie.
True.
By
Well done.
far. Not afraid to handle a cigarette, that girl was.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you. I just have an aversion to putting fire that close to my face. I don't know. It's not a thing I'm ever looking to do. But Dee, what were your general thoughts on Grim Grinning Ghosts?
Yeah, I have to agree with y'all. It was fine. Gotta love the cameos. I mean, Lynn Shay telling the story was probably one of the most interesting parts of that short, because Lynn Shay is the GOAT.
Yeah,
she is.
Fucking love her.
Not since Zelda Rubinstein have I loved an older actress in horror.
I mean, gosh, give me Insidious all fucking day long. Like I'm tangent for just a moment. I'm actually a little upset that they cut everything so short, right? Because spoiler alert, spoiler. If you haven't seen Insidious, I'm just going to type that in so we don't.
While you do that, she's also very good at comedy. She is amazing in something.
Oh my God! There's something about Mary. Get out of here!
Phenomenal.
She's brilliant.
Actress.
But we lose her in the first movie, and then they go back in time, right? And they're like, okay, this is kind of a prequel, so we're jumping all over the place. But they very much shorten her time as initially you think she's been doing this for years, but then they're like, oh no, she just started doing this in her 60s or whatever, and she's just been doing it for 5 years, and then she gets killed. I would have watched any number of movies with this woman doing the exact same thing every time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Going into the further, helping people out. She's mesmerizing on screen. She's so good.
Yeah. Did you know, I wouldn't, I would have never guessed this. Lynn Shay is in her 80s.
Oh.
She was born in 43.
I mean, if I
Yeah, that makes
thought
sense.
about it, I guess.
Yeah,
But like, yeah, what a legend, Lin Shaye.
just God,
Absolute fucking legend.
I wanted more. I want more. I
Mhm.
want more. Like I was hoping that somehow Insidious the Red Door, and they might have set us up for this because, again, spoiler, you see how things were affected in the past by things that were happening in the future. So I want them to go back and save her.
You
And
never
I
know.
want her to come back and I want her to do more movies.
Could happen. Might not. Could.
Just saying.
You never know. There's demand
Anywho,
for it. But yeah, there is more.
moving on.
There's a lot more in this movie. And the next movie in this anthology is one called Ding Dong, which is very weird. This one is by far and
It
away
is.
the weirdest one in the anthology for me. It's got like these like weird Hansel and Gretel themes. There's a witch. There's a witch.
So, long story short, are you going to
Yeah, go ahead, Dee. This is
tell
all
us?
you.
Okay, so long story short, this witch is, they're having infertility issues. And you discover after she's like crying about not being able to have a child, that she has a nasty temper and she's also a witch and she abuses her husband. So
Played by Mark
she,
Center, who I fucking love, by the way.
Mark Center is great. He's a frequent collaborator of Darren Lynn Boozman's. He was in The Devil's Carnival.
And super nice guy. Like we met him at a haunted house once.
Oh,
then
yeah, we
I was
met him
like,
at the
well,
Emily Autumn concert.
I gotta go pee. And he's like, yeah, me too. And I was like, okay. And then we walked to the bathroom together and like stood at the stall and like chatted while we peed. Which, if you've ever talked to someone in a urinal while you're peeing, it's weird enough. But talking to an actor you really like while you both pee was some fucking next level weird shit. But yeah, super sweet guy, like really engaging. Was like just happy to like meet a fan.
Yeah.
I really like that guy. But go ahead, Dee.
So that was like last Halloween. And this Halloween, she's trying to be more cheerful. And he's a little worried about how accepting trick-or-treaters, because they didn't last year since she was so depressed about it, might affect her. And she's like, hey, it's all good. And you can tell she's sort of like writing that fine line of maybe not being okay. And she might lose it at any moment. And then he admits to her, because of how she treats him, he went to the doctor and got a vasectomy. So
Fixed
they
it.
couldn't give her children because he didn't want to, expose a child to the same sort of situation. And then she gets really, really upset and all of her arms come out and she puts him in the oven.
Because again, this is like a Hansel and Gretel story.
Right.
And it's modernized, but to me, the thing that made it really weird for me is that it didn't stick to either or enough. Like it like influenced by Hansel and Gretel would have been one thing, but there were so many overt overtones that
References.
he very well made like what I got from
Well, he
it was
did
that
he dressed up as Hansel.
but that but from what I got just in general, just from their conversations, was that like he is Hansel, and she got him when he was a kid, murdered his sister, ate her, and then now they're a couple. That's what I got from that short.
That's interesting.
Is that was the real, but I think that the reason I got that was because it wasn't, to me, it wasn't clearly enough delineated that it was that he was not Hansel or Hansel, that this was just a modernization and an homage. But that's like, because again, like it was so like, even, and then solidifies it at the end with the oven. You know, that like who has an oven like you could put a body in
that big,
a never ending.
So you read real deep into this as far
That's
as
what I
like
do.
his sister and stuff. I mean, because she didn't do that whole, like, there's this gag she does when she answers the trick-or-treater door and she's like, I ate her ear last so she could hear herself scream. So she's got like a braid attached to an ear. It's absolutely disgusting when she's pulling it out of her mouth, because it's like she's like, she's like choking on it. She's like, oh, it's so awful. Anyway, but that didn't happen until after he, to cheer her up the year before, had dressed their dog up as Gretel. and that is what made her lose it. She's like, you think that's going to cheer me up to, because I don't have a child, dressing our dog up?
Yep.
And I think that was just a play on him dressing the dog up, although it was a human ear. So I don't know, maybe you're right. Maybe she saved his sister's ear.
Yeah, well, like I said, like I don't necessarily think that that's what had happened, but that's like the vibe
That
that
was
I
the
got
feel.
from it,
Okay.
and that to me was what was weird because I was like, I don't know, man, did she like raise this kid and then now they're together and she's trying like it got dark in my brain for a hot minute there, and I was like, yo, but
Very dark.
yeah, Glenn, you've been quiet on this one. What are your thoughts on this magnum opus?
It's probably in my top 3 of this movie, if not at the top.
Tell us.
This was Lucky McKee's short.
Love Lucky McKee.
I do too. I love May.
Mm.
The woman is also very good. It's the weirdest one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
They don't
It's
call you the odd
most.
movie master for nothing, Glenn.
You're right. It's the. I bought the German Blu-ray of May because it was the only one available. It makes sense.
It makes sense.
It's now been rectified. Thank you, Second Sight out of UK. Anyways, I liked it because it's so weird and makes 80% sense. The trippy like dream sequences. I'm a sucker for dream sequences, probably because I like 70s cinema.
Yeah.
Italian horror.
Italian horror, which if you watch May, a lot of the subplot is the very bad boyfriend is an Argento fan. Like it's literally name dropped in that movie. It makes sense. The like 3, 4, 5 arms that she has is just like weird and
Mhm.
creepy in like a low budget way, but I find it effective.
Yeah.
I think McKee, one of his things that he does well is like the seething underbelly of like like modern family dynamics and the horror that can be under the veneer. Like I like that a lot.
Of a happy couple. Yeah.
Exactly, or family or whatever.
Mhm.
And like May does that well. I like obviously it's budget constraint and time restraint. I feel like this could have been its own short. I
Mhm.
wouldn't say feature, but like
Yeah.
it seems like there's a lot more that they probably cut out either from the script or from shooting. I'm guessing from the script because of how everything else is. I don't know. It's just so left of center from the rest of this movie that I really liked it.
I could see
Yeah.
this. I can see if you turned up the seriousness on this and
Yes.
turned down the Hansel and Gretel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I could see this spreading out because it is an interesting. Oh, we've lost both Denise and Glenn, and it's just me. So this is definitely a Streamlabs issue. We're gonna have to revisit this because this is no good. Let's get them back on the show so I don't have to vamp.
Weird.
Yeah, now both you and Glenn went away that time.
What? So are we back on?
Yeah, you're back on now.
Damn.
Yeah, as I was saying, the
Where? Oh, okay, I'm back.
yeah,
Great.
you're
The
back
frick
too,
is
Glenn.
happening?
I don't know. Something's in the water. But what I was saying was like the concept of a grieving woman who can't have a child and that turning her into something that is, possesses her with something evil like that. Because there's a lot of people who really want children who can't have them. I mean, I'm not one of them, but like I'm not having kids. That's not a journey I'm ever gonna take. And but I get it. Like I get that desire, and to be driven to do evil deeds because of that is an interesting, especially if you treat it carefully and you treat it with respect and reverence.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
you could tell a really powerful story with that. This was a little funny to
I agree.
I think have that hit home, but I think you can make a feature out of this for sure.
I wonder. I don't know. This is just pure speculation. If it wasn't like written that way or intended that way, and then like Lucky or the producers or somebody was like, we need to make this more tonally
Mm.
in line.
Lighthearted.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I would love to see this as a standalone short, even
Yeah.
though it is very dark. Anyways,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
one of my favorites in this.
Pollyanna McIntosh goes on to
Great.
be on The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
You know, she got a serious big career.
Well,
Talented, very talented actress. Great
very talented.
performance. Like you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
for as silly as some of those moments were, you feel that
Yes.
hurt, you feel that pain, and it's
Yeah,
it's
that's what I was
effective.
about to say, because I liked it. It was a little weird, but I did like that about it, and I think that the acting in this one was superb.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Lost Denise again.
Damn.
This is a whole thing tonight.
Well, it
yeah,
is All Hallows Eve.
it is. This is what's happening. There's a ghost in the machine, and it keeps coming for Denise. I wish
think
it
you'll
would
be
just.
back in a
I wish it
second.
would just bring her back on automatically, but I have to like go in and wait till she reconnects and then go back in. Oh, and she's gone again. Oh boy.
Oh no.
Well, while Denise tries to come back on, let's see. There she is
That
again.
wasn't there, like for you.
What's that, D?
I could hear you guys in the call, like I was there.
So it's just your camera going out.
Is it
I can't hear you.
right now?
No, now I can. Yeah, you're on the show. You're live on TV.
No, but I mean, so you couldn't. I was talking to you guys, and I could see you guys after I dropped out. You couldn't hear me or see me.
Nope.
Well, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, let's just keep trudging on. Wrap up your
Anyway,
thoughts here on Ding Dong D before.
I liked Ding Dong, and I thought the acting was superb. I did. I felt her heartache in the beginning. Like, man. And she did such an excellent job, because I could also feel just under the surface that some shit was going to go down. You know,
Yeah.
she was treading a very thin line.
Yep. Hard agree with that. Yeah.
Next short.
And that's Ding Dong. So moving on, we've got another fun one that has a
Fun
bunch
and
of
dark.
horror community members in it, and that's This Means War. And this one was directed by John Skip, old Johnny Skip.
And Andrew Cash, I believe.
This was a twofer.
I believe so. Written and directed by Andrew Cash and John Skip.
There you go. Written and directed. And yeah, this was an interesting one. This had this found a couple of neighbors. You know, one with a traditional Halloween setup and one with more adult. Coming to blows.
Sorry, I was going to say a new neighbor that the HOA would complain about.
Oh, for sure would complain. Like they'd be fine for sure. James Duvall, great actor. And this one's really fun. The thing I liked most about this one was the use of, I mean, I talk about this all the time on the show, is my love of how music is used in film to tell stories. This is like a full-blown music video. Like they really lean into the music to drive home the story of this short. And I really love that about it. It's goofy, it's silly, it's full of horror cameos like Spooky Dan. And it's got like the acting is really good and it's really fun. And you know, I wrote down in my notes, assault plus murder equals fun. So what did you guys think about This Means War?
Yeah, I think it's a good foil to the last one,
which was very heavy.
I think that's actually one of the strong suits of Tales of Halloween, is they do a good job of putting very different stories against each other.
They balance, yeah.
Yeah, so you aren't like, oh, these are all heavy, or these are all weird, or these are all just makeup effects. No, this was fun. I think also Jan shot this one, just which makes sense. No, I liked it, and I liked even though it does sound like I'm taking this from IMDb if you read it, like traditional horror versus modern-ish horror. I like that kind of take.
Yeah.
Because I think there is like truth to that in some sense. Yeah. I liked it pretty well.
Yeah, you had Dana Gould playing
Yeah.
Boris, who is the traditional side of horror, and James Duvall playing the more extreme, community horror stuff.
I totally forgot he was in Gone in 60 Seconds, by the way.
Mm,
Um,
yeah,
I
and
thought it was
Alyssa Dowling,
Oh, yeah.
who's played Velma, which was James Duvall's girlfriend, was in our friend Aaron Mento's latest movie, 16 Bits,
mm,
which is fun.
very
Aaron
cool.
made a Ugly Sweater Party. We had him on Behind the Screams not too long ago.
I thought it was a lot of fun. I
Yeah.
thought it was great. It's hilarious, and it's even hilarious when the fight goes to such extremes that they end up accidentally impaling themselves on a piece of decor,
Yeah,
yard
Mhm.
decor.
on a 2x4.
It's so funny, and then you're like, oh, just like the crowd in the short, and you're like, like everything sort of stops.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing
Um,
for me was like the theme of that one to me is, oh well, that escalated quickly.
mhm.
It's like the music goes up and people aren't interested in Boris's display, and everybody's like, hey man, he gets very sexist right away, and then snaps, like instantly snaps, runs in the back, trashes this dude's audio setup, and like, listen, to be fair, I mean, James Duvall, Dante goes over and like cuts off a skeleton's head, but this guy's in the back like fucking up mixers and flipping
Very
speakers.
expensive equipment.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if the cops showed up, Boris is going to jail for assault.
Yeah.
You know,
This has one of my favorite lines, which is after Boris does that, James Duvall decides, okay, I'm going to go fuck with your shit. And he's like, you know what this setup could use? Or you know what this setup needs? Some motherfucking blood. And he takes like this huge bucket of blood
Mhm.
and throws it all over the place. It's so great.
that's a lot of fun. But yeah, there's not. Glenn, do you have any further thoughts on this one, or did you?
No, that was it. I mean, I appreciate the amount of swearing. I felt seen. Um,
Oh, and we
other
get an
than
Adam
that,
Green cameo in this one, horror
Uh,
director and movie maker Adam Green.
yeah, I actually just mentioned, I'm bummed that, I mean, we just see Adam and we didn't get to see, we didn't have one directed by him.
Yeah, super
True.
talented guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then after
Victor
this
Crowley.
one, we go into what I think is probably my favorite short of the anthology, and that's Friday the 31st,
Mine too.
which was just fucking god super fun. Mike Mendez did this one,
Mhm.
which feels like that makes sense. And it's just like like Don't Kill It directed Don't Kill It, so that makes sense for Jan too, because I think Jan shot Don't Kill It as well. Lava Lantula, big ass spider, Grave Dancers, Master of Horror. Yeah, Mike Mendez is in the scene for sure, and this one
Trick or
just
treat.
this got me right in the feels. Like I love horror and I love comedy, and comedy and horror, when you bleed them together, can sometimes be a very tough thing to do well. Like High
Mhm.
Spirits is one of my
Yeah.
favorite movies of all time, and that's why I think I like this one the best, because it has some really great performances. It's got claymation, which I'm a huge fan of. And it's
Same.
got a really fun killer. My only real qualm about this one, so to give you a quick rundown of what this one's about, there's like a Jason Voorhees style character. The final girls gets killed. An alien shows up, gets stepped on, turns into mush, possesses the girl who just been killed, a la Evil Dead. And there's some fun Evil Dead homage shots in there as
Antics.
well.
Mm-hmm.
And then the two of them just have a fucking kaiju fight. And it's like if you ever played D&D with me, like anytime two big monsters fight each other, I get so giddy and I just yell kaiju fight. And that's what this felt like to me. You had like this horrific monster running for his life, scared out of his mind, and it just ends in like this amazing over the top bloodbath, which I love over blood in horror movies. I love fucking sprays that just keep
Yeah.
going and going. Like even in Kill Bill, that was one of my favorite parts of those two movies, was just the fucking blood fountain coming out of people. My one complaint about this was you had this really amazing monster who who put on a fucking banger of a performance as that monster. But you, in one of the eyes, you very much see like they'd cut the eye hole out too deep,
Oh
and
no.
it rips it right out for me, because I'm just like, oh man, like
Damn.
like it was such a, because the performance was so good, you know, like with the Nick Principe is the killer in that, and it's such a fun performance. It's such a fun like I've done creature acting, and it is my favorite shit, because you don't get to talk, you get to tell stories through your movements and through all that other shit. And I thought it was such an amazing performance. And to just, every time we were on a close up and I'd see the big cutout of
Oh
the eye, and
no.
I'd see his skin. They didn't even like black out his eyes or anything. It was just, you
No.
just saw that it was a mask, and you saw the edge, and I was like, oh no.
Oh,
But
that's
beyond
painful.
that, this one is my favorite one in the anthology. What did you guys think of Friday the 31st?
Glenn.
If the the two previous ago, if the Lucky McKee one wasn't in there, it probably would have been this one. Because I agree, I love horror comedy, I love ridiculous splatter, I love subverting both genres, if you will. Um, yeah, and then I'm a sucker for claymation.
Oh my
Again,
God, yes.
if you've been
Anytime.
following us on socials, I had to include Mad Monster Party, which technically
Mm-hmm.
isn't claymation, but whatever, it's stop motion. Uh, from Rankin Bass. Watch it. Most
Mm-hmm.
people haven't. It's stupid and good.
I need
Anyways,
to buy that.
I love claymation.
Yeah.
Uh,
The Adventures of Mark Twain, like one of my, that and the California Raisins Christmas special.
fucking terrifying.
Oh my God. The Adventures of Mark Twain scared the shit out of me as a kid. What a
Mark
fucking
Twain,
movie.
not California Raisins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also, I
they
mean,
aren't
like
scary.
dancing and singing raisins. What's not terrifying about those as well? But
That's true.
also
Think about them
delicious.
every time I eat
Or
raisins.
like Lee Hardcastle.
Mm,
Fuck. Anyways,
yeah. Love claymation.
T for toilet. Look it up. It's on YouTube.
Oh, dude, it's so good. That was in. Was that in
the first
ABC's of Death?
ABCs? Yeah, I think that was the first one, right?
Yeah, I feel like it was. Yeah. So good.
Anyways, love claymation. Anyways, I'm tangent. Wow.
You are
That's
Tangent.
the new Will Smith movie. I am Tangent.
Oh
It'll slap you in the face. Anyways,
my God.
D, what are your thoughts?
I love this one so much. Dorbs. Because TJ buried the most important part of this. When the alien gets beamed down, he's got a little bucket. He's dressed up in a costume. He's like this big. And he looks up and he goes, "Twinkle tweet." And then he just continually says, "Twinkle tweet," because he's trick or treating
Melts
on
your
planet
heart.
Earth. And my God, it's the cutest thing ever. I just want a tiny little alien that said "Twinkle tweet." Like, I would have bought that merchandise.
Yeah.
I would buy it now.
And then he takes the head at the end as the
That's his
killer's
treat.
head as his treat, and just so cute, and so, and like, who knew aliens had the power to possess dead human bodies and turn them into demons?
It's fantastic. It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
It's such a fantastic short. I love
Yeah.
it.
It's that, you know what it feels like when at that fight at the end? It's that scene in, was it Ace Ventura 2 when he gets shot in the legs and he's like, ah,
Yeah. Yes.
ah! Like, that's how it is. Like, you know, you just see like an arm comes off, and then she
It's-
tallies back with another arm, and then like
It's
fucking,
Spears. It's not. He didn't get
it's
shot.
Spears,
It's
right?
Spears.
Yeah. And
Oh,
then like
sorry.
the like, it's very, the chainsaw through her torso, her shoulder and her collarbone was very reminiscent of the scene from Dawn of the Dead remake, the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead remake.
Mm-hmm.
Which just like that, like as someone who respects and appreciates and wishes he was better at blood and gore effects, that separation of viscera is, man, it's a work of art. It's beautiful. It's beautiful
Chef's
work of art.
It's very good.
Yeah, really, really good. So yeah, Friday
Loved
the
it.
31st. Big fan, apparently, all three of
Go
us.
Mike Mendez.
Yeah, Mike Mendez
Got-
crushed that one for sure.
Got some really good Dead Alive vibes, which I'm always welcome for.
Yeah, any of that
Very
early
rare.
Peter Jackson stuff.
Your
Super
mother ate
good.
my dog.
I kick ass for the Lord.
That's one of my favorite lines.
Kick ass,
I
Lord.
kick ass.
Yeah, then we move on to our second to last short, The Ransom of Rusty Rex. We'll start this one off with a quick like RIP to Ben Wolfe, who died not too long after finishing this in a really tragic accident. He played Rusty. Was sadly a freak accident, got hit in the head with a side mirror crossing the street in California. It's really sad stuff, and RIP to Ben on that. But
that sucks.
but this one, I liked this one a lot too. I mean, was it Sam Witwer? Like he's such a brilliant actor. I don't know why he's not
so
splattered all over Hollywood, because he's so fucking talented.
He's so emotive.
Yeah, he's really
Holy
good.
shit.
But yeah, this one was really good. Dee, like, why don't you you take us through The Ransom of Rusty Rex?
I will take you through. So you see a couple of dudes. We got, Sam Witwer in a car with his partner, and I'm trying to find this real quickly because Dutch, Jose Pablo Cantillo, and they are planning a kidnapping of a very rich man's child. This rich man is somebody you might know, John Landis. And so they're following him around on Halloween night. They nab him, and they call for the ransom money. Kid's got a mask on, and you've seen him in other shorts, which is great. They call for the ransom, and John Landis answers, and he just fucking hangs up on him. He's like, "You've got Rusty? Click." He's like, wait, what the hell just happened? Like, this is the thing about Sam Witwer. He's just so fantastic. He's just so fantastic, and so, I mean, he's in it 150% no matter what he's doing. I digress. So it turns out that this child is not actually a child. He's like a little imp, like a cat-like imp who has held John Landis's character and his wife hostage for years. He just showed up on Halloween, and when he gets attached to you, he gets attached to you, and he's like, just make sure you feed him. So they try to get rid of him. They try to dump him back at John Landis's doorstep. They like set him on fire. He just
like in a
keeps coming
lake.
back. Yeah, they dump him in the lake, try to weigh him down. And then they don't feed him. So in the end, Sam Witwer has gone to get like burgers, and he comes back in, and he's talking to his partner Dutch, and he just slowly turns around, and he sees the character not Jebediah Rex, Rusty. He sees Rusty in the back seat nibbling on Dutch's head because they never fed him.
Oh, it was brutal. Like, just the escalation in that was so much fun. And yeah, like that, like Sam Witwer's scream. First off,
dude,
crush on Sam Witwer since Being Human. Like, that was like, he's in my Death and I have talked about vampires before, and Sam is in my he's in my list. Sam is one of I love that.
Sam's a vampire you do?
Yeah, I'd let Sam flip me to to being a vampire.
Hell yeah.
He could take this neck any day. But yeah, just the like the fun, like this, like the fun escalation, and like the again, great comedic timing, great slapstick,
great marriage of the two genres.
Yeah, great marriage of the two genres with a cool monster that has a lot of a lot of good stuff. I liked this one. This was a really fun one for me, but I think a lot of it came from like, again, horror comedies tough to pull off, and I think this one does it pretty well. What about you, Glenn? What are your thoughts on this one?
I liked it. I don't think I liked it as much as you guys.
That's okay. You can have your own bad opinions.
That's okay. You also don't like candy corn, so I mean,
you also don't like John Carpenter, so
that is not fucking true.
It's okay.
I am the one who picked movies this 13 Days of Halloween that wasn't the obvious Halloween. That was a John Carpenter
are you making
film.
fun of me because maybe I'm going to be picking the obvious one for actual Halloween? You know what? That's to you, buddy. And your hatred of John Carpenter.
I don't hate John Carpenter. It's a stupid narrative that we keep.
Glenn hates John Carpenter.
Anyway, Glenn, you were saying you didn't love it as much as we did. You didn't hate it.
I didn't. That doesn't mean I didn't like it.
Did I throw you off by telling, or is he frozen?
Kinda. No, I wasn't frozen. I did.
I threw
did
you off
actually
by the John
think I-
Carpenter.
You did.
It really incenses him, which is why
It does because I love John Carpenter.
I know, but it's funny, Glenn.
Oh, fine.
When we get the merch store up, we are doing the Glenn Hates John Carpenter shirts. They're
T-shirt,
super
abs-
amazing.
fucking
Will
Do not be surprised.
this show and win the lottery and buy all of those and burn them.
Like E.T.
Anyways, it just wasn't one of my favorites. Like the acting was very good. I didn't connect with the story as much as I should have, I guess.
I mean, there's not a lot to connect to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I don't know. I didn't love the twist.
Mm.
That
or
it wasn't
at
a
least the
human
way that it
child?
was, like, played out, I guess. I mean, I like the twist that it was like, oh yeah, fucking take this kid, which is hilarious to me. Because all children are terrible and they shouldn't be allowed in society.
They're all monsters.
I believe there should be like sections of airplanes where children have to be in.
Mm,
And
in
the
the
rest of us functional
Yeah, steerage.
don't have to listen to them.
Oh, I had one kicking me a whole fucking flight recently.
Exactly.
The whole.
Just like a soundproof bubble that they can have like applesauce and farts and SpongeBob.
And the poor parent tried really hard, tried to get him to stop, but you just can't because they're little monsters.
Yeah, they didn't bring enough Benadryl. Medicine. I don't know. It just didn't connect with me as much as I wanted it to, because I like the premise, and I thought it was well done. It just didn't click, unfortunately, and I don't have a better answer for
It's okay,
why.
you
Hey, you
have to
don't
be
need a better
apologetic,
answer.
buddy.
That's all right.
Anyways,
I mean, because it's funny too. You know, we can like things for many different reasons, right? Because I know I don't think TJ super connected with the story either, but I connected with just the escalation was so funny, and it was a great combination of the horror comedy, and just because we love Sam Witwer, you know,
that's fair. Yeah,
he puts it
he's
over
great.
the top for us, so
Mhm.
it's okay. You
Definitely
have to be
points on the
apologetic.
board for Sam. But yeah, as we step out of Rusty Rex, we come to our last short of the anthology, which is Bad Seed, which is about bunch of killer pumpkins. Although, wait, I do want to go back to Rusty Rex real quick, because there's a line in that movie that made me go, wait a second. Sam Witwer's character demands 5 million Benjamins for the return of his son, and if you're not aware, that's $500 million.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was like meant to be like funny or if that was just a script error, but yeah, like Benjamin Franklin, Benjamins typically associated with the $100 bill, and 5 million of those
Only
would be you know,
like he's not Lincoln. He's not on two different things.
I don't know, is he?
I don't think so.
No. He wasn't even a
I mean,
president.
It's all about the
Benjamin
Benjamins.
Franklin is on the $100 bill.
It's
Yeah,
I mean,
but only.
Yeah,
it's a
Like-
it's a
Like
movie.
Lincoln's on the
It's a
nickel
phrase.
and the 5.
maybe. I don't handle cash much, but yeah, that to me was very funny.
I don't
that-
have
that
money. I'm broke.
My
I don't
initially
either.
I
These are
saw
under
it.
$20, so like I think I know what Lincoln's on.
Yeah, I think I just remember hearing him say 5 million Benjamins and going, wait a second. Did he just ask for $500 million?
Yeah, no.
It's one
no
of those
child with that.
that hits you way
No.
late after
especially
the
John
30th watch.
Landis. All right, on to Bad Seed. Killer pumpkins running amok in a town, cop procedural. Really, this was another one I really liked. I think it was a really fun way to close out the anthology. What did you guys think? Tell us, Glenn or Denise, whichever would prefer. Tell us a bit about what this one did.
I mean, go
go
Dean.
ahead. No, you go.
God damn
Fucking shit.
Uh,
Stop talking then. I'm just kidding.
no, I'm
This
a
is a
sucker
podcast.
for
Stop talking.
and I am a sucker for anything practical, which most of this is, I think.
When he walks on his own. Or
Well,
actually, maybe we need. I don't know. Carry on.
yeah, and most of it, right?
There was a good amount of it that was practical.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just a sucker for, I mean, beyond just practical effects, but like slightly unexpected takes that you think are going to happen. Like, I don't imagine a lot of people assumed that it was going to be the actual pumpkin,
Right.
the
Unexpected
killer,
foes.
that you're going to like take a Charlie Brown character and make it a fucking murderer.
Yeah.
Except I guess The Simpsons did it, but they might have did it after this. I'd have to look into that. Now I'm curious. Did this rip off The Simpsons? Anyways,
Or did The Simpsons rip it off? Oh shit.
I don't know. One or the other. No, I liked it. This was Neil Marshall. Yes.
Yes, written and directed. Who was previously married to Axel Carolyn.
Yes, but also did The Descent, which is the most terrifying, claustrophobic fucking
Holy
thing on
shit.
earth.
So good.
And
Yeah.
maybe the second or third best werewolf movie in Dog Soldiers that people haven't seen, which is a sad state of
Dog
affairs.
Soldiers is
Dog Soldiers is great.
premium, fucking premium werewolf movie. And like werewolves are one of my favorite monsters, and the practical effects in that were like, fuck, those were awesome werewolves.
So good.
So good.
I think I would have liked it without knowing that he did this one, but whatever. Those are my rambling thoughts.
Yeah. What about you, D?
It was fun. You know, it was a good way to close out. It brought it all together because you're at the police station and you're talking about all the shit that's been going on in the city all night long.
Yep.
Very over the top in these performances.
Yeah,
especially
terrible
the
acting.
captain and the detective.
Yes.
Oh my
Terrible
God.
acting, but I'm hard pressed to believe that it wasn't on purpose.
On purpose,
I'd
yeah,
say
for
it
sure.
fits like
like a glove.
Point.
Yeah.
Right?
I would say it definitely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's a lack of direction, because previous movies from him, like, I believe every single person in The Descent.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure.
That's why The Descent works so fucking well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think this was a choice. I think this was like
Yeah.
it's a cop procedural, and it's like
They were probably
angry,
making fun of cop procedurals.
Yeah, angry chief of police, like get out there, and like
Mm-hmm.
it's a very like 80s cop procedural. Lethal
Yeah.
Weapon with pumpkins.
But you see like Serena Vincent, who's
Oh.
great. She's at the beginning. Love her.
Meow.
That's
in reference to her cat costume.
To her costume. Come on now.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's see.
I'd say the same thing about Eartha Kitt in Batman. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, that's fair. Good.
Oh. Corner number 1. Wait.
Corner or coroner?
Coroner was Dana Ashmore from Frozen. I don't think I realized he was the coroner.
Let It Go?
No.
Yeah, I believe Dana Ashmore played Elsa. Yep.
No. Frozen.
The Adam Green movie.
Interestingly enough, yeah, it was an Adam Green movie where some skiers are stranded on a chairlift. Fucking hell.
That's fucking
words.
I joke that
chair.
Frozen is a very, very,
Mm-hmm.
very fun horror movie.
Guess who else is in there? Drew Struzan, who is an incredibly phenomenal movie poster artist. Isn't he? Am I getting it wrong? I'm pretty sure Drew Struzan is.
I don't know, man. I've never heard that name
I followed
before.
him on the Twitters. Yeah. Oh my God. Fucking like amazing movie poster. Like over 150 movie posters he designed.
Oh, that makes sense then, because
we're talking
he's the
like
artist, so he's
big shit.
That's why his
Shawshank
artist shit is terrible.
He's drawing
Is that who he was? He's
maybe, I don't know.
Rembrandt.
Blade Runner, yeah, that could be. Blade Runner, E.T., fucking Indiana Jones, Back to the Future. I follow him on Twitter, and I should probably follow him on Instagram too. I mean, you have to follow him. He's fantastic. But anyway, so it's a lot of fun, and you got very over the top, ridiculous, like even the other guy, the other detective, kind of hitting on her and being like, "Hey, want to get together?" Like it had to have been a total choice because that's all the shit that happens in the procedurals as well. But I think it was a really nice way to button it up.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Like that first kill with when the pumpkin's on the head. What I really like is sometimes like you can get away with an actor. It's again almost like professional wrestling. Like I'm not picking you up and slamming you down. We're working together to do that. And that first kill, for Roy, I think it was. He was also a director. With the pumpkin on his head, doing that whole like, the pumpkin's killing me. The pumpkin's killing me. Like that's all the actor doing that, which I love. I thought that's super fun and super effective. But the thing that I liked, I think, other than I love the creature effects, especially the practical side of them are super fun. But the nod at the end to Halloween 3, that the pumpkins come from the Clover Corp, that was like Silver Shamrock from Halloween 3 season.
Okay, we will allow that one.
Like but that's what I'm talking about. Like it wasn't like they could have called it something like Silver Clover or something to like really, but like Clover Corp was enough. It was enough of a nod to sell that.
This is what I was referencing about doing it better at the beginning of this.
And again, this was done perfectly.
Yesterday.
This was a great homage, and I'm a big fan of this. But yeah, this was a great way to end out the movie. It starting off really strong, a lot of good stuff, some not so good stuff in the middle, and then finishing really strong. It's introductions and exits, and this one did it really, really well. So
it was a good time overall. I would say watch it. I mean, we've bought it. We've watched it over and over again because I think it is it's always a good study to watch. Even the bad ones sometimes, right? It's a good study to understand. If you're a professional like we are and trying to do it, it's good to know and recognize where it hits you wrong as a viewer.
Yeah.
To help make you a better filmmaker.
And it's a lot of to each their own. You know what I mean? Like what's right for some might not be right for all, and vice versa. And like you said, like this is one of those movies that if you like anthology horror, watch it. If you like movies about Halloween, watch it. If you like short films, watch it.
If you like cameos.
There's a lot of reasons to put this one on and give it a watch because it's just a lot of fun. It's really well made. Some excellent, horror cameos in this, some great acting, some great effects, and just overall a big fan of this movie. It's interesting because sometimes I watch this and it feels a little bit like, I don't want to go as far as to say like the Asylum version of Trick or Treat, because I don't think it's that, but it has like it tonally, it has that same like all takes place in one town on the same night, happening simultaneously, multiple stories strung together by, that's anthology, by a single wraparound story or central character like a narrator. But I don't want to degrade Tales of Halloween by saying it's a second rate Trick or Treat, because it's not. It's its own movie. They just feel like they could be placed next to each other. Like what was it? What were the Prestige and The Illusionist when they came out?
Yeah.
Like two really good movies, two super quality films, but very similar thematically in their stories.
But approached differently.
So that's what I think about that. But yeah, overall, the great movie. Glenn, what are your final thoughts on this here? Because I think, Dee, was that you giving your thoughts on?
I think the only other thing I would say is I think it would be interesting to note, because I think some of the reviewers had complained that there was too much going on, and it would be interesting to figure out maybe if there were fewer longer shorts, if it would have worked out better. However, that being said, 10 horror shorts that are as good as they are, like, bravo.
Yeah.
Like, kudos to them for and that do connect. They don't feel totally disjointed. They don't feel like you just got 10 people to throw shit together.
Yeah, with the exception of The Weak and the Wicked, which is my only real stinker.
Yeah.
And even that one has its moments, but that one feels very disconnected from the world that this is in.
I do want to say, I forgot to say it when we were talking about it. I thought it was in a I didn't think it was in the same time period at all. I thought it was like in the future or something. I thought it was like some dystopian future where the fucking hood rats were running shit. Like, it felt
Did it
that
say that?
disconnected for me.
Does it say
It-
that? Does she say that in the?
No, she just talks about them being on the other side of the tracks, but this
Oh.
definitely felt very out of time and out of place for me.
You
Yeah.
could have gaslit me right there, and I would have believed it. I want to mirror actually what you said. Like I do for the most part like anthology horror movies because it is kind of like television in a bad way, in a good way. Is it a good or a bad way? Whatever. Though this is different, like you said, like most anthology horror movies are like 3 to 6 stories ish.
Mhm.
Or at least the ones that I've seen. Obviously, I haven't seen all of them.
No, I've seen quite a few, and that's usually the range.
Yeah, like 10 is a lot, and
Yeah.
like by a large margin, a lot usually.
Isn't
And
4 like the usual?
Well, that's
yeah,
what I'm saying.
kind of.
Anywhere between 3 and 6 is pretty much
Yeah.
you're in that zone.
And like almost all of them, like even the ones that I love, like 1 to 2 are kind of stinkers. So like a third, a quarter, a fifth aren't good, and you still like the movie. And I would say like the majority of this one of Tales of Halloween are pretty good. So like in the anthology realm, like this is a rather good one.
Yeah, hard agree. Which is why we
yeah,
watch
like-
it more than just at Halloween time, because it's just a good anthology movie.
I can't believe you watch it 6 times a year. That's insane to me. But
It's one of those that you just put on
yeah,
in
you
the
put it
background.
on.
Like,
do you put on other non-horror movies during the year? Like I'm
Rarely.
your friend. Do you not?
non-horror?
Yeah.
Non-horror, sure, but I mean, like, I will consistently put on Halloween in the background any time of the year,
I know.
or Night of the Living Dead. You know, I'll just put them on
The
because
90s version.
it's my the Savini version. It's my music sometimes.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right.
I mean, I have a lot of like
We're going on a
pretty-
tangent. I'm
pretty,
sorry.
pretty steady John Hughes 80s rom-coms and teen movies are my music for the most part. Bill and Ted, Crazy Summer. But yeah, but this was a good one, and I'm glad we got to finally get to it and get talking to it, and to have us I mean, it is now officially Halloween, so what a great way to end the show. Happy Halloween, everybody, from those of us here at Channel 29
On the
Blood
East
and
Coast.
Popcorn.
Yes.
On the East Coast. Those of you in other places of the world, it may not be Halloween
On the
yet.
East Coast,
But here on the East
America.
Coast, it is.
Just
It
time
is.
to go to the bar here in LA.
Yeah, get it going. But yeah, we're tomorrow, today, now in the East Coast, it is Halloween. So happy Halloween, and for those who celebrate. And yeah, we're not going to have a show tomorrow. We're going to take the night off and enjoy the day. We're gonna, we might, Denise and I might come up and do little watch-alongs throughout the day. We'll see. We're going to talk
Ooh.
about that. And yeah, happy
Random
Halloween,
hot
Dad.
takes.
But the random hot takes. But the yeah, all in all, had a blast this week. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for hanging out, and thanks again to Steph Woodburn for the raid. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Anyone
love
that
the
can stick
Stephens.
around and watch, appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. And yeah, we'll see you next week. We'll be back with more Dead by Daylight on Monday nights, bonus round on Tuesday nights. You're watching Blood and Popcorn right now, and we will be back next week, kicking off the month of November with let's see, what are we watching? What do we got on the docket for next week? The Black Cat. This is Glenn's pick, going back to more of a traditional model that we had. The Black Cat, 1989. And then we'll be trying to figure out what we're going to play on Blood and Popcorn Arcade Thursday night, since we beat the casting of Frank Stone the other night. That's the schedule. You can check out these episodes loaded up. Old episodes, new episodes coming out all the time on our YouTube. You can also go to bloodandpopcorn.com to check out some of our horror blogs, things of that nature. And, I'm going to be doing a big push for this tomorrow. So go on over to Watch Till the End. Check that out. Here's the trailer if you haven't seen it. And that's our show, everybody. So, thanks for being here. Have a great Halloween. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. And, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Till we meet again. Keep the scream alive. Good night.